Introduction. Who is Roxana Baldetti? The former vice president of Guatemala involved in major corruption scandal and the magic water scandal, a project claiming to clean the Amaticla by use of free or ineffective chemical, and La Liana scandal, a custom bribery network which business pay illegal fee and reduce taxes. Why this case matter? Because they show how corruption in government affects the environment and national income.
Theme of the case: 1. Political corruption and abuse of authority. Baldetti used her high-ranking position as Vice President of Guatemala to influence government decisions about contract and protect criminal network, interfere with public institutions, create a network of officials who benefit from corruption. 2. Misuse of public funds. A central issue across her case in the diversions of government money for personal or political gains, profiting from inflated project costs, laundering state funds through shell campaigns. 3. Environmental deception. Magic water scandal. The magic water case highlights fraud disguised as environmental protection. Baldetti approved a US $80 million project to clean Lake Metillian, used a chemical solution that had no scientific proof of effect, was mostly water mixed with basic chemical. 4. Tax and custom fraud. In the La Lena case, Baldetti was linked to a criminal network that manipulated custom tax, allowed employers to reduce fees by paying rebels.
So, for the background of the magic water scandal, Lake Amatitlan was honestly in bad condition. Trash everywhere, sewage, chemicals, and everything. The government started saying they needed some urgent solution to save the lake. And this is where things got weird. Roxana Baldetti suddenly pushed this super rush contract with a company called M. Tarsik Engineering Ltd. They came in claiming they had this special formula that would magically clean the whole lake. But when people actually look into it, the so-called magic water was literally just salty water, no real science behind it. And the government didn't even bother doing proper testing before approving it. And honestly, there were multiple red flags. The company had zero experience with environmental cleanups. The whole contract was done in a rush. The experts were already warning that this chemical could actually make the lake worse. But the government just ignored all the scientists who speaked up. The money part made it even more suspicious. They spent over $22 million on the lake, which is crazy for something that basically does nothing. Later on, investigators found inflated prices, fake invoices, and signs that Baldetti and her close circle were taking kickbacks from the project. The public did not react good to this. At first, the government tried to hype it up like it was some miracle cure, but people weren't buying it for long. The media soon exposed that the demonstration liquid was actually just blue-dyed water. After the environmental groups, students, and everyone else started protesting and demanding answers, in the end, the project ended up getting shut down after all the backlash, and the lake stayed polluted. Nothing improved at all. This whole scandal just added even more anger against the government and linked directly to Baldetti's bigger corruption case, La Línea.
The firstly, Roxana Baldetti, main person in both can abuse political power, and the second private secretary helped Baldetti coordinate litigation and illegal activity. And the third environmental ministry staff approving the ineffective magic water project without proper check. and the four MTG Engineering Ltd company showed that supply the fake cleaning chemical for leak particular. So the four custom officials let Linux operate the battery and the tank reduction sim inside custom office, and the last thing, the politician and middlemen assisting in collecting bribe and moving money for sugar network.
Offences committed. First of all, fraud was a major element in both cases. For the Magic Water project, the government paid millions for what was supposed to be an environmental solution for Lake Amatilan. But the product was fake and scientifically useless. In the La Linea case, the fraud involved a customs scheme where importers paid bribes to avoid paying the proper taxes. Next, there was abuse of authority. Baldetti used her position as vice president to approve illegal contracts and pushed forward projects that had no real benefits to the public. And she was also involved in illicit association, meaning she was part of an organization network designed to make money through corruption. This network included government officials, business people, and even custom officers. Another key offense was the misuse of public funds. Large amounts of government money meant for national development and public services were either diverted or completely wasted on fake projects. There was also influence peddling, where she used her political powers and connections to benefit herself and her associates. And finally, in the La Linea case specifically, there were offences related to bribery and tax evasion. Importers paid under the table bribes to avoid custom taxes, causing huge losses to the country's revenue. So overall, these offences show a pattern of corruption across multiple levels of government, involving fraud, abuse of power, illegal associations, and financial misconduct. Laws broken. First of all, several violations of the Guatemalan Penal Code were committed. This includes corruption and bribery laws. Since public officials
Transparent procurement implementation, we will use open and competitive bidding, and here's key: all decisions, criteria, and winning bids go public. This wipes out hidden deals and backdoor arrangements. Independent scientific verification. Any environmental or health data tied to the project must be reviewed by neutral third-party experts. This guarantees the data's accurate, no political or financial pressures giving the results. Stronger anti-corruption agencies. We need to equip these bodies with funding, legal authority, and independence. With those tools, they can properly investigate and enforce rules at every level of the process. Whistleblower protection. We will set out confidential, safe reporting channels. This protects people who speak up from retaliation, and that encourage more people to report misconduct
when they see it. Hazard penalties for fraud barely. We are talking heavy fines and mandatory prison sentences. These are not just punishments, they act as a strong deterrent to keep corruption from happening in the first place. Ethical leadership sets the tone. When leaders act with integrity, they build a culture where corruption can barely take root. Accountability prevents abuse if we define clear responsibilities and set real consequences for missteps. We keep power in check. No one can act without being held responsible. Transparency reduces corruption. When processes are open to public scrutiny,
Implications. Now, let's look at the implications, what these schedules actually mean for the country. 1. Public trust destroyed. When corruption happens, the first thing that suffers is public trust. People stop believing in the government and in public institutions. 2. Government funds wasted. Another key impact is the waste of public funds. Money that is supposed to support society, such as education, healthcare, or infrastructures, ends up being misused or stolen. 3. Political instability. Corruption also creates political instability. It can lead to conflicts, protests, and weakening leadership, making it harder for the government to function properly. 4. Environmental damage. Magic water case. In the magic water case, we can clearly see environmental damage. Fake or ineffective solution not only waste money but also harm natural resources. 5. Economic harm. La Linea case. And in the La Linea case, we can see the economic impacts. Leisure activity reduce tax income and unlimitedly harm in the national economy. So, overall, corruption affects the country on multiple levels: socially, politically, environmentally, and economically. Conclusion summary. To conclude, here's a quick summary. 1. Schedules show broad impacts. These two schedules show how corruption can affect many different sectors, from the environment to the economy. 2. Corruption affects everyone. They also remind us that corruption is not just a political problem. It affects people's daily life and the overall well-being of society. Thank you for listening.